Yes, it's on my Twitch. It's I linked it in the
Hello
background.
to everyone on Leo Lester's Twitch.
Hello guys, we have 0 viewers right now, which is totally fine. I'm gonna grab the link and put that on Twitter. Very excellent.
That's why we go live a few minutes early.
Exactly, because we actually start at 7:30.
Wow, it's like playing that.
All right.
Audio sounds a lot better.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm good just to start chatting about our most recent amateur level tournaments. So for the people that are here, last week's Rivals Recess event, it was a little bit of a special one. We had our 6th Rivals Recess Invitational. Now, the special thing about the Invitational is that it only happens at the end of every Rivals Recess season. Now, we had a couple really good players in this Invitational. And I'm going to go real quick and grab the top 8. All right, so in 7th place, I don't want to brag too much. 2 of my crew members from Chill Gang, Kazi and Tyre, have been doing really well recently. They managed to make it into the Invitational. They both got 7th. Cheese Boy, part of Minority, he's a Sylvanos. He got 5th, along with Gucci Gaming Socks, who plays Edalus. And rounding out our top 4 is an Orcane named Minty, D-Gens Crag named Wimby, and Absa named Null, and topping it off is going to be John Jake, making Forsburn 2 for 2 in Invitationals. Not sure if you guys knew, but Livret, I'm pretty sure, was one of the first Invitational winners, and now we have John Jake kind of bringing that back around and winning with Sylvanos, Forsburn as well. So then I have my tongue tied because I'm thinking about our RAS bracket from this past week. Our RAS bracket was a little upsetting for the person who got 2nd. We have a bit of a stacked top 8 here. We have big names like Catalyst, who has been doing pretty well in these tournaments. Genova, who's been doing well. That is V. So we've got some very cool. Ileana's doing well. And our top 3 for RAS is Harpuya, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they play Crag. We have Harambe, the Shovel Knight, who has gotten 2nd, I think, 3 or 4 times in a row at RAS now. And winning that bracket is going to be Brunch the Sylvanos, doing what I think few people can claim to do, which is win RAS with a 3-0, which is very cool for them. And that's going to about wrap up our events for the past week. Those events are held every week. RRC is held on every Sunday, and RAS is held every Thursday. Those are amateur level tournaments. Anyone can enter. So you guys can go ahead and enter those if you would like. And I think we are going to go ahead and start with the real meat and potatoes of the show. I want to introduce our guest. I want to welcome Protagify to WROA. Welcome.
Hi, what's up? I'm Protagify. You can call me Tyler. Yeah, what's up?
Welcome, man. So today's discussion is about reads. Now, that's kind of a hard concept to grasp. So let's just start with like something very basic. What would you consider a read to be different other than something just like a punish anyone would do? Like you just forward air and overcommitment. That's just what you do. But like, what makes a read a read? Let's start there.
Well, when you do a read on something, it's not necessarily guaranteed. There's a big chance that you'll whiff, or you won't connect, or they won't move or behave in a way that you will that you can predict. But um what makes read viable is that it's uh it's a lot. I don't want to say it's faster than doing it on reaction, but mm, it's a little bit difficult for me to explain in such a broad term. But what did you want me to answer? Like how
Like what
a read is a differentiated
like say, like, I know a commentator's perspective might be different, but when a commentator may differentiate what may appear to be a read, other than something like a regular punish, like what makes it appear to be more than just a punish? Like what makes it seem like you're like looking into someone's mind, right? Is it the number of steps you're looking ahead? Like, is it a list of habits you've just kind of internalized? Or is it a more like, I just, like, it's in my bones type of thing?
From like the outside looking in perspective, I'd say a read is it's kind of imagine it as like a huge call out, like for example, if you force someone into a tech situation and you read their roll in, you can do it with an F smash and stuff. That would be considered a read. It's definitely not something guaranteed at all. Um, like with how slow an option can be um, when faced against like a tech, you don't have enough time to react, and you need to um, you know kind of guess that they're gonna roll in. That would be kind of like a read from like a commentator's or an outsider's perspective. That'd be like a very surface level, very obvious kind of read.
Yes, okay. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Like, what at the surface level differentiates what appears to be a read and what appears to be, like, something like conditioning? Because, I've played Edalus so far at the low and at the middle level, and I can tell you at the low level, when I up air people at mid percent, I throw them down towards the corner of the stage, and they don't want to go off stage, so they hold in, they tech in. That's a very, like, day two Edalus kind of thing. Now, once you get to, I'm a RAS graduate, I'm thinking, I'm working harder, I have to think, they know, I know, what kind of situation can I make about that? And I think that, as you were saying, there's a level of reading beyond, the traditional, normal, like, bread and butter reads, F smash on roll in, or, covering a Zitterburn going high and stuff like that. And I kind of want to get into, like, what common situations pop up more as you get better at the game that you can, like, quote unquote read.
Also, the I don't think the title on the stream is updated.
Oh, that's my bad. I can get that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
My question was, what kind of situations are more common to be read at a higher level, like as you get better at the game, as you approach the I can adapt level, what more common situations appear than at low level?
Low level. A lot of the reads made at like the very top level um are they're very close to adaptation and conditioning. No one's habits are really that egregious that it would be considered, like a very like obvious call out. You might be able to parry bait someone with rock, or air dodge read someone with up air, but other than that, um, reading your opponent and going into making big call outs like that are very on the micro level now. Um, you'll pick up on habits like tech like tech habits, or where they position themselves, but for the most part you won't be able to really get huge um smash attack call outs, or nothing really too too game changing at the top level. Everyone there um plays a lot smarter. They like to mix themselves up a lot. So if you go for super hard or committal reads like smash attack reads, or like a recovery read, then you'll probably put yourself in a worse position than if you whiff, and that'll be more likely at the top level.
Do you think that kind of more conserved action contributes to what someone who is a lower level might call "quote unquote" lame?
What would they call it?
Do you think that the incentive to go for less risky options contributes to what, lower level people might call lame? Like just waiting for an opportunity, what might be misconstrued as camping, like in the situation where, Edalus can't do much against Reno hitting the B button.
I don't like they might consider it lame to, just sit back and, make them with an option in neutral, but I mean, um if if they're, in your position, and let's say uh you kind of, make it far into bracket, you're just about to break into top 8. It's game 3 and you're on your last stock. I mean, you really want to throw away that opportunity to look cool?
And that's another thing I would want to talk about, but I'm gonna hand it over to Frig, who's got some great questions.
Yeah, that was like the Rano meme where they all just play for clips. So it's kind of like a character thing where it's just complaining that a lot of mid-level rivals can be solved by just whiff punishing. So there's that classic like Claren meme. All Clarens do is whiff punish, or they just poke at you constantly. You can't really hit them back until you're at a certain level again. So I guess what we can lead that into is, how do you play against like these types of players who play like strictly reactionary, who play constantly on the back foot, who basically just wait and whiff punish all the time?
Um, I think, personally, I think with punishing is overrated. I don't think it's bad by any means. In fact, I think it's really, really good. I think it's one of the best things that you can do in this game, if not the best. But I do think that it's really overrated. It's not the be all end all when it comes to playing this game in terms of neutral, but it's pretty good. So you're asking if, like, what would be kind of the counterplay to someone who's with punishing you?
Yeah. Yeah, like they're just sitting in the corner and they're just waiting for you to push a button. Like any button you throw at them, they know how to dodge and whiff punish you for it.
Um, Depending on, where they're positioned, you can, if they're positioned at the edge of the stage, you can, let's say they're playing, a floaty character. If they notice that, you run in and throw a button at them, and they go off stage to they go off stage and then back on stage to with punish you. You can immediately overshoot and go off stage, or um, you could you can kind of pseudo approach them. You can depending on which character you play, you can kind of wave dash or run up to them, throw a projectile at them, see what they do, and if there's if they're still waiting um for you to whiff an option. I mean, whiff punishing only works at like just outside of your character's effective range. So if you can sneak your way in there, um, and and do and throw out an unreactable option, it's more often than not going to be like a dash attack or something. Then that'd be a good way to kind of counter or play against with punishing. You could, you know,
So it's
like
just
like
trusting that your stuff is like unreactable and just hitting them for it.
yeah, a lot of moves in at certain ranges, even offline, are pretty unreactable with with their startup. Um, So Fair. So Fair is what, like frame 13? Unreactable offline. If you watch the startup, um, things like Craig dash attack, especially like Rono dash attack, they can be they're really good whiff punishers, but also they're really good gap closers. You can close the gap with Rano dash attack really easily because it's really fast. The frame data is okay on it. If you're at an effective range and you see them in the range, um, you can kind of just press the dash attack button towards them, and it'll hit them because it's unreactable unless they jump preemptively, but they'd have to know that you're gonna go for the dash attack.
So that just goes back into the like rock paper scissors of if I throw out like this immediate like frame zero option, even though it's not actually frame zero, just an immediate option. It's do they do the immediate response or do they are they ready for the immediate response or do they just get hit?
Yeah, it's something kind of like that.
Okay, so I guess if you're looking to like overshoot against these type of players who are just waiting for you, you're trying to hit them to where they're like trying to dodge, or you're taking stage control from them, or whatever you're doing. Like, how do you categorize, or how do you take priority almost over what you should be punishing them with? So, like you said earlier, you had an example where the floaty jumps off stage and then back again to whiff punish. If you notice
Yeah,
floaty players jumping off stage, what are your immediate thoughts? What are you immediately trying to hit them with? Because you've taken stage control from them, right?
mm-hmm.
So, how would you take advantage of that position?
Um, well, if they're off stage, and they're not really in a disadvantageous position because they're not in any headstone or anything. It depends on the character. Um, if it's a character with good landing options or good options in the air, then it's probably wouldn't go and hit them. You can wait for them to land, or you can see what they throw out while they're in the air. That and then kind of whiff punish them back. Um,
So, kind of like the opposite jumping off stage and throwing clouds thing.
yeah. Um, if an Opsa throws a cloud at you, you can crouch cancel it no matter what.
Yeah.
Um,
So now you have to like make them fight back for it so they can't really whiff punish you. Like, right. Let's.
Yeah, well, but at that moment you haven't really whiffed yet. You've kind of just ran at them, and then they jumped back.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Does Scurvy have any questions? I don't think he's actually talked yet.
Yeah, I got some questions for you, Proto.
Yeah, what's
Kind
up?
of piggybacking off of that scenario. You're playing against a floaty, and they're doing safe options to try to keep you away. For example, Absa's jumping off stage and using Cloud. You got your crouch cancel option. But as far as the terms that we've used for the title of this episode, they're utilizing smart decision making by keeping you away from them in a space that if you try to encroach upon would be extremely disadvantageous for you and um, quite easily in a spot where they can reverse and capitalize. So they're
Mm.
utilizing smart decision making. And I wanted to know your thoughts on combating opponents utilizing smart decision making and whether they're at a point where they have stage control or they're at a stage disadvantage, but it's still in like a weak neutral state.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true neutral. You have the advantage, or maybe they do, uh, and they're not necessarily coming in on you. Let's use that ABSA jumping off stage with the cloud example. Um, so you have information on their habit in this scenario. In Laud's Guide to Improvement Google Doc, he coined the term prediction confirmation, where you have info in a certain scenario that your opponent will do this option. Obviously, it's you as the player's responsibility to figure out exactly how to combat that. But the prediction confirmation definition is just that you have the idea, you have information in this scenario, your opponent is going to do option A. And then you choose to combat that with option B, and it works. So do you feel as though, or maybe even it doesn't, you have to brainstorm and come up with option C to try to combat their option A in this given scenario? It's kind of more or less a soft read. So do you feel as though like that term prediction confirmation would be a good definition as to what your game plan should be in that scenario?
Um, that's a it's a really complicated way to put it. Um, so
So the
I mean,
exact
what it boils down to a lot of the time, um, is doing what works, and if it doesn't work, then you can do another thing. But you most of the time people want to keep doing what works.
I feel like
right.
what he was talking
So
about is kind of like an anti-hit confirm in a way with like the prediction confirmation. I'm just trying to like clarify some things.
right.
So like
So the actual definition of the prediction confirmation is similar to a whiff punish, but you predict your opponent is going to use this input and then you confirm upon it by punishing. So you have the information that this ABSA is going to hop off and toss out a cloud. So you have that
Mhm.
information. So you do the prediction confirmation and you challenge that before maybe she's able to get like she short hops or maybe jumps and floats off and starts using her cloud, and you can combat that before the cloud comes out, or maybe you catch her landing. So
Yeah,
you
that'd be
with
kind of the
punish
read, depending on
or
when you kind of make that realization, like uh a lot of the time, like let's say when they start throwing the cloud at you, I mean, you can kind of just react to that. But if you kind of hit them before they do any of that, like before they jump, while they're in the air, during the startup of them channeling it, I mean, that could be considered a read. It all depends on when you actually when you actually punish it and stuff. Because
So it's
a
like a
lot of
timing.
yeah, it's a timing thing. It'll give you a little bit more reward than if you reacted to it, because you'll be punishing them sooner, and there's less hoops that you have to go through. But uh it definitely is kind of just safer to you know uh sit back and react to what they're gonna do. But there's a big merit in going for a jump read or something like that out of neutral.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess we can start flipping the script again, because we were talking about unreactable options and stuff like that, or choosing to react to certain things. So let's flip the script a bit and say someone's coming at you with an unreactable option. They got into a burst range, they did at a dash attack or rhino dash attack or something, just burst range, and you can't react to it.
Uh-huh.
Once you've gotten hit by that and you start DIing, you're playing disadvantage. If they're only trying to go for these unreactable stuff and overshooting at you from these huge distances, what would you start doing then to like slow down neutral?
To slow down neutral, I'd probably just sit back, maybe wait on a platform, or I'd if I notice myself getting hit, and with an option like that, I actually kind of this is just me, by the way. I kind of stay in the same place that they start throwing those options at, and then um if I see them coming near me, then I can, let's say, roll behind them while they do, like right before they do Rhino dash attack, or I could jump before they do it and then punish the dash attack for when they do that kind of stuff. A move can be, frame zero and teleport you to the player and and instantly kill you. But if you know it's coming, then it's way better to
So
to get away and read that kind of option than try and react to it. I mean, it's frame zero. Like a read makes unreactable things punishable.
okay, so it's not necessarily a guess because you know it's coming. You just it's kind of like that prediction confirmation thing again. You anticipate the option and you can confirm it as soon as it happens so you can play accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a guess, because it's you're still guessing, whether or not they'll hit you with that move. But I mean, if at that range, if that's the only way that you can avoid or punish that situation, then it's what you have to do. um
So I guess an additional virtue of that is you don't have to keep in mind like the entire moveset then, because Aneta who wants a dash attack will most likely dash attack even if it's unreactable, right? So it limits that. So it makes it more of an educated guess.
yeah, like like you're not gonna really prepare for uh you're not really going to prepare for a Zetterburn dash attack if they're all the way on the other side of the stage.
So would you agree then for lower level players, there's an argument to be had that if you can formulate a game plan against a matchup that you're maybe unfamiliar with, if you can recognize 2 or maybe 3 options that the opponent's character has that they have an amazing time capitalizing upon if one of those moves hit, if you can formulate a counter game plan to one of those few options, you're setting yourself up in the long run as far as like the rest of the match or the rest of the bracket or even your career down the line in general. If you can pick out a couple of moves and have a counter gameplay that'll set you up for making these smart decision making processes, developing habits on when you can punish these, like you can make these reads, you can make these whiff punishes, you can capitalize on these prediction confirmations.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the matchup thing you said, and it's just, oops, sorry. How about Leo, since you haven't asked a question in a while, we move on to that because my next stuff was going to be matchups, and that's off topic.
All right. I was just gonna say a little bit about, like, I'm not gonna say Idolus carried me this far, but let me tell you, I can't tell you how many times I can queue into casual and just through sheer lack of information I can just beat people with like icicles and fair. It's a little hump that I have come to experience and know that Edalus is like the scrub killer of the game, so to speak, just because his options are so much in the extreme of others. And I think that just kind of brings a unique perspective to the whole reads thing, just because he has such such weird tools. Anyway, down to my question. Proto, I just wanted to ask you, when you are, like, obviously there's a difference with how you prepare for something like pools or something like a top 8. Is there an efficient way to keep, quote unquote, everything in your head at once? Because when I play, like when I like grind with someone, I have a hard time keeping like everything I can do or like everything I have to punish or like all my options that are good in the current moment or the current situation. Is there any easy way to organize that kind of information in your head in the moment, so to speak?
Like your game plan and stuff, like
Yeah,
putting it all together.
cause it's not a slow game. You and I both know that. But when it gets down to it, I can mindlessly kind of play rivals. But when I'm playing against someone who's like really testing me, I have a hard time keeping the difference between my active adaptive gameplay and my autopilot. And I wanted to ask if, like, is there a way to adapt to more, like, how do you replace information so quickly in like your little pool of options you have?
You can. There really isn't an easy way to do it. You can intentionally slow the game down, maybe camp a little more to give yourself some room, but a lot of people don't play well like that. Sometimes it'll make them play worse. It all depends on, what kind of player you are and where you're comfortable. It all comes down to you being comfortable, and you really want to get yourself in a mindset where that you play best, or maybe kind of relax yourself, give yourself some time. Let's say someone took your stock, you can, instead of just getting immediately off the respawn plat, you can take a moment, think, oh, what should I do? What are what I could be doing. You can taunt on the respawn platform to stay there a little longer.
Oh, I know Edalus can do that for like 8 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds at max.
Wow.
That is my favorite SBS clip with the fucking champ Atlas.
Yeah. You do all that kind of things. But if you want to kind of set yourself up for success early on, I'd set a tag in game for that. Something that I used to do, and something that I tell a lot of people do when they ask me for advice. People come to me and ask, how do I work on adapting to my opponent better, or how do I focus more on the game? And I usually ask them, where they're looking while they're playing a match. Do they look at their character? Do they look at the opponent's character? Where do they look?
I
And
know.
there's merits to actually looking at your character more than your opponent, and there's merits to looking at your opponent more than your character. Like Penguin, he's like the second best player in the world, and he looks at himself most of the time.
Really, I didn't actually know that.
I look at myself
Same.
just to make sure I'm moving correctly, because I can't tell you how many times, Proto, I don't know how much Edalus you've messed around with.
I have accidentally wave dashed on iced and tried to F tilt and then off stage and died.
I'm so glad you understand. I'm so glad you understand, because when I like slide off, charge up B like Waveland, and then I like fuck up the up B somehow, and now I'm hitting sideways and B at the same time, so I icicles off stage with like no momentum. It's so bad.
I get it, but I'd set an in-game tag. What I used to do when I had trouble looking at my opponent was that I would set my in-game tag as the eyes, like EYES.
Oh yeah.
And it would every time I would look at myself, I'd see the tag and I'd remember to look at my opponent. You could set your tag as focus or something. Every time you look at yourself, it'd be a reminder for you to focus, or you could set your tag as slow, fast. I don't know, anything. Anything as a reminder. I
probably shouldn't set my tag as panic then.
Yeah, you've had panic for a
like
while,
that.
huh?
Kind of give yourself a little reminder that you need to be doing something.
I have my tag as one Japanese character, and I believe it says "da," but the only reason I haven't changed it is because like all of my hours are on that tag, and I don't want to stop putting hours on it now.
I mean hours.
All
Does
of
it matter?
in the stats, it's just nice to see all the. I'm probably gonna take that advice. Actually, I really need to stop like looking at myself, because I can't react to stuff like Fireball when I'm just staring at myself, making sure I don't SD. So I actually will take that to heart. That's a good point. It's like you can give yourself a little tiny 5-character cheat sheet, even.
Yeah, kind of just say. Yeah, mine was eyes, and then I did focus, and then now I just kind of do whatever the fuck tag that I want, because I don't really need to remind myself to do that anymore.
And building off of the, you saying you don't have to do it anymore, how long does it take to build up the kind of experience where you have like a game plan for not every situation, but a majority of situations, and like you're comfortable in, maybe not every matchup, but you are confident in fighting 3 or 4 characters? Because I myself, I've been playing seriously for around a year. I don't feel super confident in a couple matchups, but I think I can fight a couple characters really well. And I'm just thinking, I'm not asking because obviously not every player evolves the same way, but what kind of time does it take to build up that kind of game plan, and like And it just goes back to me thinking, like my parents saying, you're spending all this time playing a video game, right? So
I don't know. It depends on person to person, honestly. Like you, you like go and it depends. Um, like I've been playing this game for 6 years. I don't remember the time where I'd stop needing that, but there's always room for you to learn and adapt. You could do it at any level, even the top level. But um, I'd say um it was I reached that point when my autopilot got good enough where it didn't really matter for until like the upper echelons of play. Like I'm gonna kind of go on a tirade here, but
oh, please go ahead.
it's pretty important to train your autopilot. Pretty important to raise your skill floor because something that I like to say a lot is that you're only as good as your autopilot, and really learning how to raise the skill floor of your worst is important to be consistent, um so that at worst, let's say a player like me, at my worst when I autopilot, I play at around like the top 30 levels instead of a top 20 level. um I mean, that's still better than like 99% of the players, but it's still really good. Like I'm able to compete with people like 10 spots below me just on my autopilot alone, not even focusing. um you you can um but let's say I didn't learn how to do that, and at my worst, when I autopilot, I'd play at a below top 50 level. It's gonna, on your bad days, it's definitely gonna show, in pools, in brackets before top 8 and stuff. You can be the best player in the world, but if you're I mean, if your worst is, going 0-2 in bracket, then I mean, you're gonna be ranked lower than like someone who has more consistent results.
I love how every
Um,
conversation about Smash and Smash-like games devolves into consistency versus peaks. I feel like it's every single topic. Eventually, we get here.
yeah, and a way to train your autopilot for me, is to you know, play against humans, but I kind of go into Exim, or I play with my friends, but I kind of don't really focus on the game. I have a YouTube video playing on my second monitor that I'm kind of focusing or listening to a podcast in the background, or maybe I'm thinking about something else. I don't know, anything that kind of diverts your attention between rivals and something else. It could be anything really. Would help you build up your autopilot. um
So
Maybe you could be playing against better people. Sometimes I do that where I play up against someone better than me, and I do it. I kind of don't really pay attention a lot. That kind of builds up my autopilot, raises my skill floor.
I
I
guess
think
while
what
we're
else
you go ahead, Scurvy, because you haven't talked in a while.
I think what else improving on your autopilot does is increases your endurance per se. Because the longer, especially in like super majors or huge online brackets, having a strong autopilot means you can tune out for longer. and spend less mental and physical energy focusing 110%, allowing you to make those deeper runs without completely burning out like halfway through.
Yeah, like I mean, if you if you treated every pools match like it was, grand finals, then you'd be burnt out by the time you'd have to play in top 16.
Right, you'd
Um,
be completely exhausted.
All right. I just wanted to kind of build off what we were talking about before with the autopilot. Um, how how do you differentiate like a bad habit from a good habit in the sense of, is this a good punish option? Like, I could just sit and just icicle fair Reno all day off stage and it will work. But how do you go about, besides just, trial and error, is there a way to go about learning what works better? Or is it just grinding out, you might die, or it'll work, it might not. Is it just try over and over again, or is it just random whether or not a punish ends up being good, like when you're learning, so to speak?
when you're learning, it's definitely good to try out new things. But once you're consistent and once you know what to do, what's the best thing to do, then probably just do what works.
All right, simple enough.
I mean, it's good to know your options, and it's good to discover them, see what you can do in different situations. But I'd probably just do what works. I mean, me like 3 years ago probably would have said, do what do you think would hope to work. But now I've been in too many situations where I've lost games to me doing a dumbass read, or I've lost out on top cuts because I just didn't do what worked. I just wanted to do a different option. Um, I think when you're learning, it's good to go crazy and go stupid, and with different punishes, different approaches in neutral. But um
So
it helps you learn a lot. But at the when you know your options well enough, it's just good to do what works.
So on that topic, that's actually something I've been trying to work on, is like this idea of discipline. So you find something that works and you're supposed to turn your brain off. You've won at that point, right?
Yeah.
So I guess like it's like, how do you decide when you've found that? How do you practice that discipline to keep doing what works? So like not running off stage and instead doing the safe thing and keeping stage control to let trap your opponent or whatever. And
Uh,
yeah, that's basically my question. How do you practice that discipline?
mm, well, if you're in that situation, you kind of either need to tell yourself to not do that, or you just gotta you have to fail enough times for you to beat it into yourself that you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, because I think that's like a huge thing with like at least higher level players that I've seen. Like it seems like they just autopilot the disciplined option at that point because everyone else just plays for clips at that point when you're not supposed to do that. So other than just like beating yourself up, it feel like uh I'm losing my train of thought. It's basically like trying to how to adapt and still be disciplined through it.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. You just gotta fail enough. I mean, there's no real easy answer. You just gotta
You hear that, kids? You better get used to it. Unfortunately, the true reality of it is that you will end up losing more games than you win. That's how.
Just play against more humans. And,
Absolutely.
when you're in a position like me where you win more than you lose, then you kind of gotta. I mean, by that point, you should already know how to adapt and stuff. But
All right, so we're gonna be moving to viewer questions. We're gonna start opening that up. I believe we can still try and keep this conversation going while those trickle in. So let's.
I just wanted to ask, because I remember, Frigo, you had some questions about matchups. I wanted just to ask, like, you specifically how you feel about matchups like Absa, Edalus at your level that are so, at somewhere like my level, so predisposed to be just bad. It's bad, it sucks, it's not good.
at the top level, there's no matchup in this game worse than 60-40.
Mm-hmm. And to you, also I wanted to ask because I saw it a couple weeks ago and it got me thinking. Do you think that 60-40 means like +2? It's very hard. It's a struggle, or
That's
like
+1.
+1. Okay.
And like anything past 70-30 is outside of the range where the better player will win, but like 100% of the time in a 70-30 matchup or a 60-40 matchup, the better player should win.
Do you think there are some matchups that are, not just the Ditto, that are truly even? Do you feel like there are any of those in this game?
I think something like Zed or Absa is even. Absa Eda is pretty even.
At the top level, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, at the top level, Zed or Absa is even. Eda Absa is even. Theron Orcane probably pretty even. Um,
How many players do you think can play at a range that would be considered at which these matchups would be considered even? Like what percent of the rivals player base? I know the top is still a small amount, but
probably
how
top
many
50
top
could
50?
play at a constant 60-40 level where like mostly everything's even. There's like one exception that I would make for like a matchup being worse than 60-40, and that'd be Shovel Knight or Aster, but that's still what, like, at worst 70-30.
That's interesting. Do you think there are more characters that get better at higher level, or do you think characters drop off at high level like Shovel Knight?
There are a lot of characters that get better when you climb up, like Raster or Maple is a really good one. Characters with a really high skill ceiling. Golly,
Shout
I
out to
don't.
Sega winning the water major with Rano
Yeah,
after only playing him for a week.
gosh, I don't think that. I don't think there is really a character that drops off at the top level. There are only kind of characters that get better. The game is kind of balanced in a way that, and the matchups are kind of so tight that it shouldn't really matter
What
how
what
bad your character is.
what about the game do you think makes it so close, tier-wise?
Well, just the character balance, honestly.
Mhm.
Character balance is really good.
Do you think the universal mechanics are balanced? Do you have any issues with like parrying?
Uh, I don't.
The
I
only
guess
I
we
issue,
could
don't
ask
like.
the inverse and ask what you think shields will do to the remake.
I think shields will be. Um, Honestly, I don't know. It all depends on, how hit falling is balanced, how parries are balanced, how the movement is, if there's whiff lag and stuff. I can't really answer that question in confidence.
do you come from games that use shields, or are you Rivals fresh?
I came from Smash 4.
Smash 4, interesting, because I know a lot of well, at least recently, just because the netcode, people have been playing a lot of like the Project M players play Rivals.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Uh,
just because it's more, I would think it would be more akin to what would be in Rivals 2, or what we can assume to be Rivals 2, because when I see I come from Project M and Melee, so when I see stuff like Zetterburn shine, like a chargeable shine on top of what Zetterburn can already do oppressively, like without as many options as he's gonna have, that kind of makes me concerned. But I think it's gonna be a while until they get it right.
yeah, that's what beta testers are for.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. And just going along with future endeavors for what Rivals is looking like. Are you personally excited for the new characters that are coming later this year?
I'm beta testing the characters right now, and yeah, I'm pretty excited.
You don't sound terribly excited, but I'll take it. Do you have a favorite right now?
Yeah, I want to know who you're most.
Uh, well, I mean, my workshop main was Malo, so I mean, I'm obviously the most excited for Malo.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Were there any that maybe seemed, I don't know if you can give this insight, but in your personal opinion, were there any that seemed underwhelming, but through beta testing, you maybe seem a little bit more excited about it for the future?
like the the build that I got for testing these characters on the live patch. Like,
Yeah,
are
like
you?
maybe you played it in a shop and maybe they didn't seem like their kit was
Oh, Malo.
synergetic, or maybe they didn't really
Really?
mesh together, and
Yeah.
now like they're
Oh,
tinkering with the hitboxes and knockback and percentages and just general overall the intricacies of the character, and now maybe your tune has changed to them a little bit.
nope,
All right.
not at all.
All right, interesting enough. Um, well, I think it's kind of cool that you are in with the know. I'm not gonna prod you because I know it's probably private, but I do think that's very interesting. Uh,
No, I signed an NDA, and
oh, I bet. Yeah,
on the
I'm
on the
not gonna.
launch
I'm not
on the
gonna
launch
ask you.
screen of our beta build, it says "Don't leak this, penguin." And on the build version, it says, "If you leak this, I will be very sad." So I gotta protect that
All
smile.
right, all right, all right, Dan. I will respect your wishes. We're gonna steer away from that. Um, so it looks like we're still clunking along, and I do not have any more specific questions. If any of you have any more super specific questions, you can go ahead.
Doesn't
We
have to
got
be
a
about
couple.
raids. You can just ask me about rivals or anything. What my favorite food is. I don't care.
Yeah, we got a couple of listeners in Discord. If you guys want, feel free to hit up the viewer questions chat room. Anything you want in regards to decision making, reads, possibly adaptation, Just like Eddie to what Proto said, it could be something strictly for him. It could be a question for one of us hosts. Let us have it.
Right. So, I guess I can ask you this: what is like the most? What question have you gotten the most from people who have asked you for advice, and what is like a common thing you would tell people for advice?
What could I do better? And then I tell them to ask a more specific question.
All right. Assume they asked a specific question then.
I get asked a lot. Uh, how do I play neutral against ABSA? And I kind of just I kind of tell them to kind of float around my anti-air range. My anti-airs are really punishable. So if you jump in, then jump out, and you jump out, right as I up to the F tail, then you can punish me pretty hard. Your viewer questions aren't open, by the way. So I guess they can ask in community general. I don't really know. I will give myself a 5-minute uh cap
I
though,
turned
because
it.
I do have a stream that I need to be running soon.
That is totally fine. If we don't end up having any viewer questions, that's totally okay. We're a new show. We got a couple viewers. That's all we can really ask for. All we're really doing is we're just trying to provide some information, get another new perspective. And if you do need to go in 5 minutes, I'm just gonna pre-thank you for being one of our guests.
Yeah,
So,
it was a pleasure to be here. I like talking about the game, like talking about ROA. It's my favorite thing in the world. No, actually, it isn't no, actually, I think I hate this game. I like the friends that I made along the way. No, I like this game.
alright, nice.
I have a relationship with this game where it's kind of like every time I play this game, I'm like, fuck this game. I can't wait to play it again.
I want to ask you one of those viral dumb Twitter questions. If you could add a frame or remove a frame anywhere on ABSA, where would you put it?
Apps is not really balanced in a way that if you add or remove a single frame, it'll be worth anything. I think if you maybe add oh god, yeah, I don't know, apps is kind of there's a whole lot of other problems for ABSA besides frame data. If it were any character in the game, I'd add a frame to Zettershine. I'd add a frame to Rano Bear. I'd add a frame to Rano Nair. I'd
Add a frame
remove
to
a frame from a lot of Sylvanos's moves. I'd add a frame to a lot of Crag's moves.
Personally, I would just make Edalus Fair frame 1. I don't know about you guys. Isn't there a quirk in Rivals where moves can't be frame 1?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard that somewhere. Man, I must be crazy.
I don't think so.
Must be in
some
some other small indie game community I'm a part of. Whatever.
Wouldn't really matter for Edalus Fair though. Edalus Fair armor is active on frame 3. Wouldn't really make a difference adding or removing one.
I don't know. I think it would be funny. But outside of that, I'm not sure. I'll tell you about this. I'll make his jab not frame 6. I'll make his jab frame 5.
Make it frame 5.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Instant top.
with a lot of jabs.
Yeah, because
Edalus already got that treatment. Actually, Edalus's jump squat was 1 frame slower than everyone else's for a long time. Yep.
Wow.
It was super negligible, but like it mattered just enough where Dan was like, yeah, I probably should change it.
I think they just give it to him and Craig and like
I
Sylvanos.
think Rano deserves the extra jump.
Oh
spot
my
for
god, give
Rano.
Rano 5 more extra frames of jump squad. Give him the brawl snake treatment. Make it
You guys are
9
mean.
frames. Listen, man, it's not you, it's the frog, okay?
Yeah, I know. It's my character. And I 100% deserve it. I am not denying anything.
Honestly, the issue that I have with Rhino, I don't really care about his bullshit ass aerials. Like, I don't know, just remove the sour spot from Dacus and I'd be okay with it. It would make him a lot skill. It would make him a lot more skill based. Like yeah, you can kind of beat them up until like 110, 120-ish, but like if you don't have an instant transmission that also kills, then I mean it would make him a lot more skill based. You'd have to go into confirms rather than, oh, I hope I hit this Dacus.
Random Dacus is a meme. And most of the time, a lot of Ranos at my level just need to, like, once they hit 90, actually start going for, like, one of the many kill confirms that Rano has instead of just going for more combos, basically. So I see what you mean. Personally, I just want them to stop with the perp box shifting on all of Rano's aerials, because that shit's annoying.
Yeah.
I think
Alright,
it's
well, I gotta go run my bracket. I'll see you guys
Alright.
later.
Alright, thank you
Thank
so
you for
much for
stopping
coming
by.
in. We really appreciate
Have a
it.
good one, guys.
Goodbye,
This
Proto.
episode will be up on YouTube later.
Yeah. Alright, guys, soon enough, we are gonna close it down with the radio. Thank you guys for tuning in this time. It was a little rough, but, you know, I don't know what else we can expect. Episode 2. I mean, first, I want to thank everyone in the Twitch chat. We got 10 viewers in the Twitch chat right now. That's very cool. I think that might include me, but we'll take it. And we got 3 listening in the Discord. Thank you guys as well for coming in. We are going to plan week 3 more. We're going to be more prepared. We'll have the new layout for next week. And we are going to have another guest. And we will be discussing that right after this.
And we are also planning additional content to fill in the gaps in between the 2 weeks of regular podcast episodes.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that as well. More news
Alright.
will be coming out.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm going to be signing off. This is Leo Lester.
All right. Have a good night, folks.
See you guys.